speaker today is Dave Perlman. He's working in the visionary communication path, and he is starting Project One. He's working in Project One, I should say. Evaluation and feedback. He's doing the first speech in that two-speech project. His speech is 5 to 7 minutes. And Dave Perlman, who sells boat rides, is going to speak about something extraordinary, or perhaps just ordinary, in his speech, Communication with the Other Side. Please help me welcome Dave Perlman. Thank you.
Thank you. If I was Steve, I would have named that speech, "Let's Talk About Sex." A few weeks ago, my fiance and myself drove to my mom's house in Palm Beach Gardens for lunch. It was a Saturday. As you might know, my father passed away a few months ago, so the feelings were still raw, still recent. While we were there, we decided to drive to a nearby beach, 15 minutes away. My mom said I should cover my head. I'm not sure why. But she said, "Why don't you take one of Dad's old hats?" It was an old straw hat, not refurbished, just old. She gave it to me. We drove to the beach. We parked next to an administration building. We walked across the street to the beach. We walked around, maybe for half an hour, 45 minutes. And we walked back to the car. As we're walking past the administration building, my dad's hat fell off my head. Landed about 3 feet ahead of me. It was a nice day, but it wasn't particularly windy. So my fiance said, "You know, that's a sign." And I said, "Sure, that's a sign." The hat wasn't on my head very carefully. But I didn't tell my fiance what happened next until the car ride home. A man was walking out of the administration building, perhaps sort of perpendicular to where we were walking, perhaps 10 feet ahead of me. And he was carrying some type of power tool, perhaps a big drill. And on the drill were the words Stanley. Now, as you might know, Stanley is a manufacturer of tools and hardware. It also happened to be my father's first name. So this piqued my interest. Can the deceased communicate with us? And can we communicate with the deceased? So for that, I spent days at the library studying books and tomes. No, I'm just joking. I went to Google, like everybody else. According to an article in Psychology Today, as many as 3/4 of bereaved people have sensed the presence of a deceased loved one. The experience occurs in a variety of forms. Besides seeing the deceased person, it may be a strong feeling they are nearby, watching or helping. It may be a sensory experience of smelling or hearing them, of smelling their perfume, being touched by them, of hearing them call out. Less directly, people may feel that deceased friends and relatives are contacting them through animals or by symbolic means. In many cases, the experience occurs regularly so that people feel deceased partners or relatives are still with them. That's a direct quote from Psychology Today. Now, what happens if you have one of these experiences? According to a website called Everlasting Memories that offers some suggestions. First of all, you should speak to a priest or church elder. Guess it wasn't a Jewish website. You should speak with a counselor or therapist, perhaps a support group, should speak with a psychic or medium. Then should speak with a close family member or friend. Or finally, should spend time alone. Now it's these last two that sort of get me. You should speak with a friend or family member or spend time alone. Isn't that what we're doing all the time? Either one of those two. And that gets to the meat of the whole thing. As much as we'd like to know, nobody knows. Was my dad trying to communicate with me from the other side? Or was it just a case of an ill-fitting hat and a man who decided to buy another brand besides Craftsman? Thank you very much.